Have you ever found yourself saying, "I never agreed to this"? Maybe you're answering messages late at night. Maybe you're taking on responsibilities that weren't part of your job. Maybe you're constantly available, constantly helping, and constantly stretched thin. And now you're wondering how things got this way. The answer might surprise you. Most workplace boundary problems don't begin when someone crosses the line. They begin when the line was never clearly defined in the first place. In today's video, we're going to talk about one of the most important career protection strategies that professionals often overlook: defining your non-negotiables before someone else defines them for you. Section 1. Why most professionals don't think about boundaries. When most people start a new job, they're focused on one thing: proving themselves. They want to make a good impression. They want to be seen as capable, reliable, helpful, professional. So they say yes. Yes to the extra task. Yes to staying late. Yes to helping outside their role. Yes to being available whenever needed. At the time, it feels like dedication. And sometimes it is. But without boundaries, that dedication can slowly become expectation. The problem isn't being helpful. The problem is being helpful without limits. Section 2. The hidden cost of undefined boundaries. Every workplace relationship teaches people how to treat you. Think about that for a moment. If you're always available, people learn you're always available. If you always say yes, people learn to expect yes. If you never challenge unreasonable requests, people learn that unreasonable requests are acceptable. This doesn't make your colleagues or managers bad people. It makes them human. People tend to operate within the boundaries that exist. And when boundaries don't exist, expectations often expand. That's why professionals who never define their standards often find themselves overwhelmed years later. Not because they intended to create that situation, but because they never prevented it. Section 3. The 3 areas every professional should define. Let's talk about the 3 most important categories of workplace boundaries. The first is work hours. What time does your workday begin? What time does it end? What situations justify overtime? What situations don't? If you haven't answered these questions for yourself, you'll struggle to answer them when someone else asks. The second category is communication. How accessible are you? Which communication channels are appropriate? What response times are reasonable? Technology has made communication easier than ever, but it's also blurred the line between work and personal life. The third category is scope of work. This is where many professionals get into trouble. Helping occasionally is normal. Taking on an entirely different role without discussion is not. Knowing the difference is critical. Section 4. Why boundaries feel uncomfortable. Many professionals know they need boundaries. The challenge is that boundaries often feel uncomfortable, especially if you're worried about disappointing people, especially if you're ambitious, especially if you're trying to build a strong reputation. You might worry that saying no makes you look difficult. You might worry that protecting your time makes you look uncommitted. You might worry that enforcing boundaries will damage relationships. But here's the truth. Healthy boundaries don't damage professional relationships. They strengthen them because they create clarity. People know what to expect. You know what to expect. And clarity reduces conflict. Section 5. The difference between boundaries and resistance. One common misunderstanding is that boundaries mean refusing everything. That's not true. Boundaries are not about resisting work. They're about making intentional decisions. A professional with healthy boundaries might absolutely agree to work late during a critical project. The difference is that the decision is conscious. It's an exception, not an expectation. The goal isn't to become inflexible. The goal is to become deliberate. Because every exception you make teaches people what they can expect from you in the future. Section 6. Creating your non-negotiables. I encourage you to take 10 minutes after this video and write down your answers to 3 simple questions. What are your non-negotiable work hour boundaries? What are your non-negotiable communication boundaries? What are your non-negotiable scope of work boundaries? Write them down. Document them. Review them regularly. Because boundaries that only exist in your mind are difficult to defend when pressure appears. The more clarity you have, the easier it becomes to make decisions when challenges arise. Final thoughts. One of the biggest career myths is that boundaries are something you establish after a problem appears. The reality is the opposite. The strongest boundaries are established before they're needed. Because once expectations become normal, changing them becomes much harder. Remember, your time has value. Your energy has value. Your focus has value. And protecting those things isn't selfish. It's strategic. If you found today's video helpful, be sure to read the full article linked in the description below. And if you're ready to build stronger workplace boundaries, develop better self-advocacy skills, and protect your career from burnout and exploitation, you'll also find the workplace boundaries and self-advocacy blueprint linked in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.